It's prime time for Primal Crime.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brawl Stars. I'm Amy the Amazonian, and today I'm playing Etali, Primal Conqueror, the Crimosaurus Rex, the Dino with the Crimo that turns into the Bite Steel Colossus. This is one of the best cards that they've printed in recent years because not only is it a giant 7/7 trampler, it also plays 2 spells for free when it enters the battlefield. One of yours and one of your opponents, whichever one they happen to find first on top of their library. And if that wasn't enough, you can also pay 9 or 10 mana to transform it into the Primal Sickness, which is an indestructible trampling 11/11 that, if you don't manage to kill your opponent with the damage from being an 11/11, also deals poison as an added effect. So deal the damage, only need 10 poison to kill your opponent. This dino is really an everything in one giant gruel threat, which means this deck is all about ramping up to Etali and then hoping you get some good stuff. And because we are ramping already, I put in some other good stuff that's gruel and big, and you either cast it using your ramp or for free off of Etali. Now, what's brand new in this deck? I've retooled some of the mana, but the big thing is we now have Primeval Titan in this deck. I just put this in pretty much every single green deck I have because it's good. There's no other reason. We don't need another reason. Primeval Titan is a fantastic card, and it absolutely belongs in this deck. We still have the pair of monkeys, Kogla and Yadaro. We've got a couple of Eldrazi Titans, Emrakul and Ulamog. And we have, of course, one of the most powerful spells from Alchemy, Verdant Rejuvenation, which just puts like 7 more creatures into play if I already got Etali out. Really, really strong stuff. This deck also is running a few ways to get around counter spells. Because this has such a good enter the battlefield ability, we want to make sure it resolves. I am not running the one that costs 1 in green, but I am running Domri and Rhythm of the Wilds because, hey, this one ramps too, and this one gives haste on top of everything else. That's some serious good stuff when it comes to the gruel beatdown. So we're going to take Etali, Primal Conqueror, into the queue and primally conquer our opponents. Soul of Windgrace, a land bringer backer who's also a kitty cat with lots of activated abilities. I'm going to throw that hand back so I can get some more ramp. That's ramp all right. Soul of Windgrace, when it enters the battlefield or attacks, gets a land out of either player's graveyard, meaning that you have an excuse to run some land destruction if you happen to have it, or just lands that automatically sacrifice and fetch another land from your deck. That's very common. If we had real fetch lands in Arena, you'd run those too. Once the Soul of Windgrace is on the battlefield, you can also make him indestructible, gain life, or just draw a card, and all of those abilities put lands into your graveyard so you can bring them back on your next attack. It's a good card. It's also like a just good Jund. You like Jund? You like Soul of Windgrace? Awesome. Here's Soul of Windgrace. Witherbloom Command, unfortunately, just kills my Ilysian Caryatid, and they did just put a land into graveyard. They also got another land into hand. Interesting that they chose the Den of the Bugbear over Crag Crown Pathway there. Alright, here comes Gwenna. Llanowar Elf. They're ramping, I'm ramping. All good for me. I can only use Gwenna's mana for creatures. We can't use it here. I'm going to get out the Fable the Mirror Breaker, which gives me a little goblini! Hello, goblin! It's a good goblin. They have enough mana to play their commander. Soul of Windgrace. Wonder if they will. It looks like they're going to be getting rid of this. Okay, I have to discard. I'm going to get rid of my Swiftfoot Boots. Oh, hello there, Emrakul. I don't really feel like I want Emrakul right here. In fact, what I kind of like is a land. I'm going to drop Arcane Signet and Key to the Archives, or maybe Arcane Signet and Embercool or Rejuvenation. Let's go with that. We have too many big spells and not enough ramp right now. There's the ramp that gets me to Etali next turn. We got Claim the Firstborn, Croson Grip, and D-Spark. I'm going to grab D-Spark here and drop this Forest. Swinging in with Gwenna. Bam! Now, if they would like, they could even take this forest out of my graveyard! I mean, they also have a Crag-Crown Pathway, but if they want to, it's right there. Nope. What they want to do is they want to destroy the Key to the Archive. Maybe the Fable? No. Key to the Archive to get rid of it, so I can't cast this D-Spark. Now I need a land if I want to get my Etali out. You're not a land! We got Ramp and Circumstance. I went for D-Spark over the other choices, by the way, because exiling Soul Windgrace can sometimes be the best way to deal with it, because it has the ability to become indestructible. Become indestructible, become ungovernable. Here comes Soul of Windgrace. Saying, meow meow. And bringing back a land. Fabled Passage is easily, recyclable, I want to say. Yeah, I feel like Soul of Windgrace does recycling. So we got Etali, Primal Conqueror. This untaps, and we get to exile, so I'll get rid of the land. And now we get to steal! We got Arboreal Grazer and Grim Tutor. Alright, so one of these, the Arboreal Grazer, is not gonna do much for me unless I tutor and I put a land into my hand. I don't think that's what I want to do. It would be funny, but I don't think it's really what I want to do. What do I want to get? Something fun, maybe. What's the most fun card I've got here? I don't want to just kill their commander. Maybe a henge. I love a good henge. Veil of Summer. You think I had a kill spell? I don't. Did I cast a blue or black spell? I did. I cast their Grim Tutor. I guess they're just trying to draw a card because otherwise it seemed unlikely that I was going to. Right now, there are 2 lands in graveyards. And because this is not a targeting ability, I have to do some kind of awkward timing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use Gwenna to copy my Armored Scrapgorger. And I'm just going to immediately activate it to get rid of this Fabled Passage. The reason I'm doing this is because it's the only thing that gives them multiple landfall triggers per turn off the same land currently in a graveyard. There's other cards in graveyards and other cards that will let them do that. But it's the only land that's doing that right now. So getting rid of it. It's gone. Here comes the henge. Oh my gosh, look! A fellow henge player! I'm positively unhinged. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana available. They're using it for Spiteful Banditry! That's going to kill this, and this, as well as a couple elves. They get a treasure, and then they concede the game. Okay! Sure. Tyvar Kell. He's an elf commander who himself is actually a planeswalker. Can untap elves, give them death touch, and I believe also make elf tokens. This is the buffed version. Yeah, it's the buffed version of Tyvar Kell. Hey there, how you doing? Who, has a little bit of extra oomph to his +1 ability. I have so many different 1-drops I could start this game with. Which do I want? I think I'm going to start the Delighted Halfling. Because she's just so cute. Look at her. Look at her. You don't have a choice. Look at her. She's adorable. She taps for mana. She makes things uncounterable. And she's also a cutie patootie. All of these are very important when it comes to card design. We've got a snow-covered mountain. And I think it's time to begin our Rampitude. They do have access to black removal in their deck through Tyvar, but I'm going to just hope that I'm able to out-ramp them here. They've got a Llanowar Elves, and they've got also, by the way, I didn't mention this, turn 0, they did play a Leyline of Abundance, which means these will tap for 2 mana rather than just 1. But we've got 1, 2, 3 mana rolling right now. See if we can up those stakes. How about a Llanowar Elf? How about a monkey? Going to go to combat and swing with Ragavan, Nimble, Pilferer. It will trade with any of these creatures. Metallic Mimic looks like it's the choice. And we trade. I could either do Arboreal Grazer here or Sword of Forge and Frontier. I'm going to go for the sword because it gives me protection on one of my creatures if I equip it to half of their deck's colors. Currently, all their creatures. In fact, I expect almost all of their creatures to be green, since the best elves tend to be in green. Elvish Reclaimer is going to sacrifice a land and grab another one. I wonder what land they're going to get. Nykthos! Nice! Because they have green, 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 green. That's going to turn... Well... They're going to turn it into, like, 1 extra mana. That's pretty good. They currently don't have any black mana, though. Tyvar Kell, sadly, manaless. Maybe they don't even need it. Because, like, once they play Tyvar, they get black mana off this elf. Like, this elf can now tap for black mana. Perfect! Do they have enough for Castle Garenbrig? Maybe for Leyline of Abundance? Nope! Thorn Lieutenant. A good elf. Guardian Project. Guardian Project will be drawing them a card when their non-token unique creatures enter the battlefield. I'm going to play the Llanowar Battlements first. And throw down Etali! Gwenna untaps. And we steal! The top spell of each player's deck is the Imperious. Perfect. And Incubation Druid. Since we're a ramp deck, we actually have a good number of elves. Like this one and this one. Gwenna. And yeah, just Gwenna swing at Tyvar. They have so much mana. They do have a thing they can sink mana into as well, this Leyline of Abundance. But hopefully for them, they'll just be able to dig and dig and dig, drawing more and more creatures. Guardian Project currently draws them 1 card for each of these non-token creatures that enters the battlefield. And look at how much mana they have. Oh, that's a lot. And they just converted it into a big solid stack of mana. They can now also play lands off the top of their library. We know what's on top of their library. It's a Llanowar tribe. Nice. Would you like to give this +4/+4? Or would you rather sink that into the Leyline of Abundance to put a +1/+1 counter onto everyone? Everybody gets a counter! Etali's like, I'm the same size as a Llanowar Elf. Frankly, kind of embarrassing. Like a little embarrassing. I'm going to play Kogla. And I'm going to use it to hit Oracle of Moldiah. We know what's on top of that library. And I want it. Who do I want to hit with, though? Do I want to go for maximum damage? Yeah, let's get Etali in this sorted up house. Etali currently can't be blocked because every single creature is green. Bonk. I only get to take off my library. I want that. If they kill my Etali, and I'm kind of like goading them to doing it, I'll be so happy. It's like 1, 2, 3. Monkey gets the sword. I can use this for creature abilities, right? Yeah. Green, green. Activate. Just getting some chump blockers out here. And a good monkey. I want that. They need to kill my Etali, but they couldn't because I made it untouchable. Also, now my Emrakul is gone forever! Llanowar Tribe, they drew a card. Still tons of mana off Nykthos. Llanowar Loamspeaker gets them even deeper. Yeah, they have no problem with mana here. Especially because they can untap that Circle of Dream Druids. Nice! Ranger class is going to let them play creatures off the top of their library. I love this. They're just like, yeah, I'll just tap for 9. Chunk! Chunk! Allosaurus Shepherd also gives them a big pump ability. The ability to turn all of these elves into a base. And that's base! 5/5. Remember, most of these buffs are +1/+1 counters, and some of them are probably +1/+1 because they're elves. Nissa! Hi, Nissa! They have 16 floating mana, which they can turn into even more mana with this Castle Garenbrig, and they're going off! Will they find their Craterhoof Behemoth? Will they even need their Craterhoof Behemoth? With all this mana, all they need to do is dig. The War Master going to give them another way to pump up their elves, giving them, I think it's +2/+2, and Death Touch. Very good. And also gives them tokens! Once per turn, when another elf enters the battlefield, they get more elf. More elf, more fun. Poco's out here just like, I'm just a guy. What's wrong? Just a monkey. Just a big ol' elf. Just a big ol' elf in a trench coat. A monkey-shaped trench coat. They're pumping up their board. Okay. Nice. Do you do it again? I want to say they have enough mana. Maybe not. Elvish Reclaimer. Sacrificing and grabbing another land. Oh, they have 69 cards remaining in their library. Oh, now they only have 68. This is going to get them another elf. They got Rishkar! Rishkar, who lets all of these things with +1/+1 counters tap for mana. And because they can tap for mana, they can actually tap for 2 mana thanks to Leyline of Abundance. Wonder if I should have kept the sword on Etali with the hopes of giving it the super poison ability this next turn. Do I still have enough mana? Hold up, I might. Beep beep. Looks like it might be 1 short. Let's see. No, we have Xaxes. We're good. We're good. Protection from your board. And we attack for 13 poisoning damage. It's not actually, like, infect. Because it also dealt 13 real, actual damage. Oh yeah, they added a little alternate WinCon animation. Cute! We win. Azusa, lost but seeking. She looks to play lands. But not just 1 land per turn, up to 3 lands per turn once she's on the battlefield. It's a land-based ramp. We have some creature-based ramp here. We technically have 2 lands in our hand. And this isn't a fantastic hand, but I do think it's keepable, especially with some extra mana acceleration like Nissa and Delina to hopefully clone our Etali once it's on the battlefield. Hi, Azusa, you ready to rumble? With your fancy, fancy sleeves here? Keep flickering. I don't like the way they flicker without, like, anybody having to, like, hover over them. Usually animations on lands are like, oh, if you open it up, it starts animating. These ones are just constantly glitching out. Azusa! I know you're lost, but, like, I can help you find the battlefield. We keep. And our mulliganing. Throwing a card back, so they did a double mulligan. Tangled Veil, the backside of Tangled Forahedron. And an Arboreal Grazer. It's ramp! They must have just drawn that because they didn't play it on turn 1. I'll go for the Armored Scrapgorger. He's just so cute, and he can munch up graveyards. Beast Whisperer is going to give them card draw when they cast creatures. Speaking of casting creatures, how about this one? Incubation Druid! Also get these boots out. The boots are just nice to have, especially when you're trying to haste out big nasty things like Gulta. Azusa lost but seeking. Beast Whisperer. Not lost, and drawing many cards. Wow, that is... Yep, that's a lot of mana. Got another creature to throw down? What you got in hand? Is it like an Ulamog or a nothing? Maybe it's a nothing. Scavenger Grounds. Exiles Graveyards. Neat. We've got a Nissa. We can go for Delina and Boots. I kind of like Elder Gargaroth as just a solid blocker. But in this circumstance, it's time to ramp. I think it's just asking, hey, do you want to exile some graveyards? Want to sacrifice this dessert? I know it's desert, but it's more fun to think about. Delicious, delicious sweets. Where's the pudding, Azusa? Where's the pudding? I'll animate my snow-covered mountain and attack with it. I will not put the boots onto the mountain. But maybe I should, in case they're trying to fight it. Azusa, you are taking your sweet, sweet time today. Now what nastiness can you castiness off 7 mana? I got 7 untapped lands right now. That's a henge with no discounts beyond 2 power from the Beast Whisperer. I could use a henge. That sounds pretty great right now, honestly. I'm going to tap my forest and then untap it using Nissa's Plus ability. This means I'm very vulnerable to things like board wipes, which thankfully don't really exist in mono green. I'm going to use all this delectable mana for Etali, Primal Conqueror, and hope that I get even more ramp off of the Stealing a Spell. What do we get? Nissa, that's ramp, and a Goldspan Dragon, that's also ramp. Ramp for everyone, and by everyone I do just mean me, but... You know, Magic is a very self-centered kind of game. I'm gonna put the boots on Etali. But this dinosaur has gotta go fast! Whoosh, whoosh! They considered briefly if they wanted to block, and decided against it. Here comes Gulta. By the way, we're doing all of this off 3 lands, one of which is not really a land, it's an MDFC. That's all we needed. All we needed was a little bit of land. Oh, that's a lot of bit of land. That's 8 Forest Dryads. 8 1/1s. But they don't get them any cards. They just get them some mana. And since we've got a 12/12 with Trample, and they don't even know about the Ulamog in hand, you know, I think the game's pretty well secured. GG Azusa! Ollie Ben's playing Vraska Betrayal's Sting. She's generically good because she's removal in the command zone that also can proliferate and win the game through her ultimate ability. Turn 1, they're gonna duress. There's only 1 target for it, so they make me discard my booties. My cute little boots. Gone. No hexproof and haste for me. Oh well. Cold Steel Heart, they're ramping. They do have to pay either 5 or 6 mana for their commander, so that does make sense. Incubation Druid on the battlefield. I don't know if there's that much that works with Vraska, like synergizes with her, but if you have things that can be proliferated, like other planeswalkers or poison, I think that those are things that go really well with this commander, and we should expect to see mono-black planeswalkers. And in general, I will say that planeswalkers are pretty strong, especially in black. A lot of them are good at killing or making tokens. Discarding. Are you going to kill my Llanowar Loamspeaker? Aww, he has been sacrificed. They have 5 mana. They may as well play Vraska. Use her to draw some cards. And proliferate. The proliferate will let them get more loyalty onto Vraska, bringing her closer to ult. So if I play a creature now, Elder Gargaroth, they'll just use the -2 ability and get rid of it. So instead, I'm going to play Arcane Signet and Sword of Forge and Frontier. We do have some things with haste, Vorinclex, and that would be good. So I can't actually play this turn anyway, just because we only had 4 mana. But I'm saying, like, if we had a 5th, not so great. Guardian Idol, more ramp, also able to be turned into a creature. Paradise Druid! Paradise Druid. Wearing some equipment. Paradise Druid has hexproof as long as it's untapped, meaning that these edict effects, like Shoulder's Edict, will be able to get rid of it, but Vraska can't. No -2 for you. Also, now I have protection from red and green. Not that that's super relevant, but it's there. Ooh, Key to the Archive. That's going to get them a broken spell from the spellbook. Or maybe like an okay spell from the spellbook. In general, they're very good cards. They drop to settle the score. Played a land. They have 4 mana. And Extinction Event. Getting rid of my even-costed creature. Rude. We still don't know what they got from the key, because they didn't put it into graveyard. Oh, darn. Just going to play that as a land, and here comes the Elder Gargaroth. Again, I think it'll just be turned into a treasure, but maybe I can use that treasure to play Etali. Oh no! My Elder Gargaroth! They've got a black market connections, meaning that they've got some extra card draw, treasure, or tokens that they can make, not like creature tokens. It's an everything token. An everything bagel with extra token on top. Two more cards in hand. Again, one of those 2 cards is their Key to the Archive card. Skyclave Relic kicked. They're going to use that to ramp. That also gives them mana of any color. They have 2 mana up. If they got a Doom Blade, then this plan is doomed to fail. Vorinclex. And we use that Vorinclex to attack Vraska! Oh, it was a D-Spark. It was worth a try, wasn't it? That's the card they got off the Key to the Archive. D-Spark. They also paid the full 6 to draw a card, make a treasure, and get a 3/2 shapeshifter. They draw a card, they lose a life, they proliferate. They're actually down to 11. I haven't hit them at all. Every single card I've played, they have answered. They're about to pay 2 more life. They're down to 9. At least Mono Black doesn't have counterspells, right? Rootbound Crag. Going to play Etali. Let's see what we get. It's a Heartless Act and a Galta. I like both of these. I'll use the Heartless Act to destroy this Shapeshifter. And now I have a 12/12 with Trample on the battlefield to go ever so sweetly next to my Etali Primal Conqueror. These 2, by the way, are 2 of the primals from Ixalan. This is the green one, this is the red one. However, corrupted by the unfortunate invasion of the Phyrexians. Yeah, this poor guy is dead now, too. I guess having all of your flesh stripped away usually does kill somebody. Also being attacked by all the other dinosaurs. Since a creature died, they're going to use Barad Dur for X equals 6 because they have loads of mana. It looks like they're paid 3 life. 1 for a treasure, and 2 for a card draw. They're going to proliferate, making this orc army bigger. I said arc army. Each orc army. Do you have any removal, though? I'm going to throw the Sword of Forge and Frontier onto Etali. And then attack with both of these. This way we have a little bit more damage spread across both of these, and it won't just be lethal if they block with the 7/7. Lethal to Etali. With 3 cards in hand, they have another potential 2 blocking damage here. Looks like go for the throat. Is it time for a fine double block followed by a reactivation of Barad Dur? Sure is. Move my commander back to the command zone. We're going to play Llanowar Elf, and we're going to put a sword on the elf. May as well, we've got the mana for it. And next turn we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, potentially 9 mana. Which means Etali might come out again. Barad Dur, is it time to activate? In my end step, they have to count up how much mana they have. That's the hard thing. Looks like X equals 4. They have to pay life again. They have to pay at minimum 1 life. They draw a card. They lose a life. They're at 1. If this is still on the battlefield at the start of their next turn, they are dead. They pass to me. I'm going to shock in this land and play Etali. Etali looks at the top cards and steals Professor Onyx and a Lotus Cobra. And they lose the game. Not because of anything I did, but because of their black market connections. Paid 1 too many life, I see. 1 too many life. It's Harbin, Vanguard Aviator. Harbin's a soldier's commander who gives all your soldiers a big boost into the air. If you're attacking with 5 or more soldiers, all creatures, including non-soldiers you control, get +1/+1 and flying until end of turn. Harbin himself also a very aggressive flyer. Looking at that, it's a 2-mana 3/2 flyer. A very, very aggressive beater in the air. And because this is running blue and white, you got the power in white. You also can have some board wipes in white, but you can also have some nice tempo counter spells in blue. Just enough to protect your creatures from your opponent's, well, board wipes. Really, that's a lot of it, is protecting your creatures from your opponent's board wipes. Sungold Sentinel, a soldier, a human. Also, a little bit of graveyard hate. Here comes Sokanzan. Don't have anything I can do on 4 mana. We need to get a 5th for a Cavalier of Thorns, who will hopefully get me my 6th. Thalia's Lieutenant puts a +1/+1 counter onto the other human they've got here. And when they play more humans, this will get bigger. They did not get a land, though, on that turn. Would I like to give this haste or +1/+1 counter? I guess +1/+1 counter. Looking for lands on top of my deck and not finding any. I'll attack with my Kami of Bamboo Groves, because I don't think they'll block. We have a Sword of Forge and Frontier on the top of our library, which is not a land. a land we could have played with the Oracle. Sun Gold Sentinel swings in, still nothing in any graveyard for them to exile. Not blocking. Patriarch's Humiliation, going to get rid of the Oracle's abilities. That's pretty good. Here's the Sword of Forge and Frontier. Just putting that onto the battlefield. I'm 1 mana short of equipping it. But if we do equip it, I will be able to, well, maybe get some damage in, and maybe play some extra lands. Maybe play some extra spells. Thalia's Lieutenant, now a 2/2, Sun Gold Sentinel, a 4/3, swinging in! Exiling, now there is a card from a graveyard, and I am going to block with the Sun Gold Sentinel. Or block the Sun Gold Sentinel with my very blanked Oracle. Sword of Fun and Frontier. Yep. Mountain Dew and Doritos, swinging in! Would you like to block? Would you like to double block? I would like to double block. I'm going to kill Captain Everheart, who taxes my things. And hope, again, that I get a land. Like they're stuck on 2. And I feel like 2 is kind of the equivalent of my 4. Because we're a ramp deck. But we just got there. Nissa, who shakes the world! Nissa who gets countered? Nissa who goes back on top of my library. She's like, wait, what? I was... Don't question it, Nissa. Cavalier of Thorns this time. With haste. You want to fight me with your little 2/2? No way. Not today. Oh, a land. I would love one. Thank you. Hello there, Cavalier of Thorns. Boop. Do I think they have a counter spell? Oh, it would have to be one that only has 1 blue in the cost, but they did not play Harbin, even though they had the opportunity to. I'm going to go for Nissa. Nissa resolved. I'm going to use Nissa to untap this forest. It's also resolved. I'm going to put the Sword of Mountain Dew and Doritos onto my forest. This also is resolved. Attack in. $10 damage to the face. A bit of exile. Ooh, Lotus Cobra. Lotus Cobra sadly does not get me this Galta, though. But the Galta can have haste next turn, Amy. Imagine. Imagine. Here, have a snake. Oh, right. They can't counter my creatures because of Rhythm of the Wild. I totally remembered that. I'm going to give this snake the sword. They have 2 little 1/1 blockers. Alright, so I feel like this Galta is going to get me there. By the way, there are some counter spells that get around things like Rhythm of the Wild because they don't actually counter the spell. They're like Reprieve, which is in white, that just puts it back on top of the library. Fairgrounds Warden is able to exile one of my creatures. Who do you choose? The snake? The elemental? Or the elemental? They chose the snake. Oh, it's just a little guy. Memory Lapse does counter spells. This was mentioned in the chat. Nope, it does counter the spell. But it can't hit with our Rhythm of the Wild out. Galta, come on out. Galta, get some haste. Galta, you're already a 12/12. You already have trample. Let's roll for lethal. Boop, boop, boop. Sorry about your stuck on 2 mana Harbin. That stinks, bro. Chandra, Torch of Defiance. Probably going to be the helm of either a mono-red rampant into good stuff deck, or Oops All Chandras, where the good stuff you ramp into is just more Chandra. because she's good, and most of her iterations, her various cards, are really strong. This one probably either the strongest or second strongest, because the one that was printed in March of the Machine, ooh, that's a good card. Really good card. We're going to use Cold Steel Heart to get ourselves some red mana, and we're going to try to keep in mind that this Chandra could come down at any time. Ooh, or is this going to be an aggressive deck? All right. I'm down. Gonna play this Rhythm of the Wild. We're gonna get wild. I'm not gonna play Sword of Fortune Frontier yet because I don't want them to be able to destroy it. Yeah, Caryatid is just a great red card. So is Fable of the Mirror Breaker. We get bonked, and then we get booped. We have 6 creature mana here. Or we could, you know, maybe play the Scrapgorger, make it a little bigger. Or we could play Nissa. Hi, Nissa. We could use Nissa to animate a forest, which we can then attack with. Hiya! It has vigilance. Tap. Give a +1/+1 counter to an Armored Scrapgorger. They discarded a Silkenzon and a Reckless Stormseeker. Suppose they don't need those, not when they have Ragavan. Sort of. Ragavan's in there. And a Goblin! And about to have the ability to clone some of their creatures. Laelia, nice. Lets them play things off the top of their library. Everybody's swinging at Nissa. That's fair. I bet Ragavan's going to swing at Nissa too. They get a treasure, and they exile the top card of their library, and that card is... Seasoned Pyromancer. Probably won't have the mana to play it this turn. I will block Laelia. Nissa lives at 1 loyalty, unless they have a shock, or a bolt, or a strike. It was the third one. It was Lightning Strike. Bye, Nissa. Thanks for letting my lands tap for double neck. It was nice. It's really cool of you. I appreciate it. Ooh. What's better than having protection from half of my opponent's deck? No, wait. All of my opponent's deck. They're all red. Ha! Laelia liked that. You're funny, Laelia. Swing with a forest. Have protection from red and green. That's my color. And actually fail to get a land off my top 2. I tried. Collection of Kiki Jiki. Laelia. The Goblin. The Caryatid. They can still swing them with Caryatid and get damage in that I can't stop. But Chandra can't use her minus ability on this forest. Can still hit the Scrapgorger, though. The monkey attacks! I block the monkey! Sweet, a land. But first, I have to attack their face. Because I need more land, so I can play my commander, Etali. None of these are land. This is ramp, though. Stormwell Sage. I'll give it haste. So I can use it for more Blackitude. +1/+1 counter. Doot. Also a +1/+1 counter. Looking great, guys. Looking great. Their plus got a Royal Eruption. That is a card being exiled. Laelia likes that. I assume you killed the Somberweld Sage. Nice. You can use Reflection of Kiki-Jiki to clone this Goblin if they just want to make a treasure. Or mana. Hey, Laelia. You attacking, you get to see what's on top. Though you may die to a combination of blocks from this forest and this, sloth. But it's like a marginally more powerful than usual sloth. No, they're going for Chandra, Acolyte of Flame. This Chandra can buff up their various other Chandras or any red planeswalker they have. That's pretty good. Yes. I agree. Delina. With haste. Galta. With haste. We swing in, we make a copy of Galta. We're swinging with more than 20 power. They have some blockers, but definitely not enough to prevent lethal. GG. Oh, Aragorn and Arwen are getting married, and we're invited to crash that wedding. This is a +1/+1 counter stack that's all about Aragorn and Arwen just attacking in. Or at least I assume that's what it is. I've seen a few of these decks because one of my viewers has actually brewed this deck and submitted it a few times for me to play. It was fun. I got to make a big army of things with +1/+1 counters on them. It's also a little bit tricky though because this is a 6 mana card, so you gotta get some ramp to get all the way up to your big scary creature. I'm sitting here with the Mephit's Enthusiasm rather than ramp, just waiting for something to blast. Weatherseed Tree, that just gets a land. Well, I guess the turn after it gets a little guy. A little guy I can blast with Mephit's Enthusiasm. And then the Bugbear would come into play tapped, so I'm going to play Delina. Currently, Delina can only copy herself. But that's fine. Delina's great. Big fan of this card. Big fan. They're going to use Fabled Passage to grab another basic land. I'm going to guess a forest. Yep, it was a forest. Just balancing out their mana. And Anointed Procession to get twice the tokens. Okay. I am going to use Mephit's Enthusiasm to get rid of the Saproling. Or at least try to. They may have a way to defend it. Even though I am cutting myself off from playing one of my 6-cost spells next turn, Kogla, I want to get these boots on the battlefield and put them on Delina. I want to make sure that Delina has her abilities. If they have, like, Patriarch's Humiliation, Swords of Plowshares, there we go. All right. So they've used that up. No longer an issue. They don't have a creature to give a buff to. Trostani! Hey, that's pretty good against Etali because during end step, she's going to bring back all their spells. Thumberwald Sage, sure. 3 mana? To make 3 mana. Yeah, it's only creatures. Only creatures will then go back under their control. So I have to be careful about what I steal. Etali doesn't really give you a choice. It just takes the top card, but you can choose not to cast something. Rabble Rousing with the Anointed Procession and this Trostani already buffing them up. I'm not dead this turn, but next turn, it seems likely. This is a few creatures. Just a few, just 1 or 2. Etali, can you find something good for me? Maybe they're running board wipes. Oh no, I got Skrelv's Hive! Well, no shame in losing to a pile of tokens. Good game. Thor's Crusade! That is just a large number of unnecessary triggers, but it will be a comical amount of damage. Each of these is going to get +32, +32. That was a great noise, wasn't it? Like a really great noise. Good game! 600 or so damage is all I needed to be defeated. Tatyova Benthic Druid. Landfall. Draw a card. Gain a life. A really, really good, real reason to get more lands into play. But because you're getting extra lands into play, you may as well use them for what they were always meant for, which is ramp. Speaking of ramp, I would like some. I don't have any here. Oh, a monkey! I'll keep this. I'll drop the... They could have counter spells. Heedley Archive. I know it is ramp, but it's not the ramp I'm looking for. Yeah, like Tatyova. gets extra lands into play, draws cards off them, and then just plays with the huge, scary, powerful things. A delighted halfling. No! My monkey stares you down with venom. Vitriol! Huh. And also, like, monkey noises. A fun fact, if you want to see me play my Ragavan Nimble Pilferer paper EDH deck, you can now do so on the most recent episode of Elder Dragon Hijinks. You should definitely check them out. They're another YouTube channel, and they're super duper cool. My friends Ailey and Olivia run the channel, and, you know, we're pals. We've been making content together on and off for years now. Oh my gosh. So it's so great whenever I have a chance to play Commander with them. It's like, technically we're playing Commander so you guys can watch as part of like a series and its content, but actually it's just some friends getting together and playing some Magic, because we love to play Magic. Hello there, it is a Goblini. Goblin that can attack and make a treasure. Do you play Tatiova? Tatiova is sadly bigger than this goblin. I'm getting sweaty. Oof. Hi, Tatiova. Okay. I will discard. Nothing. I will discard nothing. I want to make sure my things are uncounterable. And I want to get ready to rumble next turn. Lotus Cobra, Tatiova taking an extra turn. It looks like they didn't draw a land, or they would have played one. Ghost Quarter! Nice! Ghost Quarter gives them the ability to destroy another land, including a basic. You can technically Ghost Quarter yourself to get another landfall trigger. I do that sometimes in my Gitrog deck, because it's fun! Nissa is just like Lotus Cobra, turns landfall into more mana, but also, if you get 2 triggers from her ability in the same turn, bonus, you can also get an elf or elemental, just the first one that happens to be in your deck. This is only going to be the first landfall trigger Nissa gets this turn. So they'll float 2 mana, giving them 6 total. What are you going to do with that? I don't like that that's River's Rebuke mana. I don't trust like that. Oh gosh, I actually have to remember that the Cyclonic Rift is in Arena now. Woo! That's tough. Okay, they didn't use the mana, so that's good. Fable the Mirror Breaker, we're going to give that haste. Must play Dinosaurs. Etali Primal Storm, who is significantly better when it has haste. We're going to attack in with Etali, and I'm actually going to attack in with this Goblin as well. We get the top card of each player's deck. Oh my gosh, we got good hits. We got Kogla and Tireless Provisioner. Usually you hit like a land and you can't do anything with it. This time, Etali was like, you know what? I'm just as good. I'm just as good as Primal Conqueror, and I'm going to show you. GG Tatiova. It's Vorinclex, another Phyrexian across the table from me. We have a hell of a nice ramp in hand here, because on turn 2, we can get down one of these 2-drop rampers. And then on turn 3, it's Chandra's time to shine. Gotta love myself a big, fiery planeswalker who can generate 2 mana and get me to Etali. Maybe even sooner? Explore, they're rampant. By the way, this Vorinclex is pretty cool. He's the one that I will notably point out every time I see him. Has reach. Why is it important that this Vorinclex has reach? Because a lot of people, especially like the first 2 weeks after this card came out, would just attack into it with a flyer. It's a 6/6. No other Vorinclex has reach. This one does. Ooh, a Kazandu Mammoth! And a Shock. I'm going to grab this Chandra, and I'm going to use her -3 ability to take out the Mammoth. Now we've got a lot of mana available next turn, especially because we have Castle Garenbrig. Here comes Vorinclex, going to grab 2 forests. They do not need to be basic forests. Just 2 forests out of the library. Yep, gingerbread cabin, technically a forest. And we're going to use Castle Garenbrig and Chandra's +2 ability to play our commander. It's Etali on turn 4! Let's roll. Okay, so we have a Goblin and Archomancer, which is actually pretty sweet because it means I can still play this Incubation Druid. And then the world's babiest Voracious Hydra. Oh my god, look at him. It's just a little guy. Whenever you cast a spell for free without paying its mana cost, X is 0. Which means that the Voracious Hydra is a 0/1. So little. They played the Immortal Sun, which means I can no longer activate Chandra unless I use this Beside You to blast that off the battlefield. Get out of here, Immortal Fun. Also, they got a food token off their gingerbread cabin. Yay! Oh, not so yay. Our opponent's leaving the game. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Brawl Stars. As always, the deck list is in the description, and if you'd like to watch me play these decks live and even see how I build my decks, you should come over to twitch.tv/Amazonian. It's where I stream almost every single day. I am working on trying to get my stream also live on YouTube. I just kind of have to figure out the hows, the whats, the whens, and the whys, but probably at the same time that I normally stream, which is starting at 9 a.m. Eastern every day except for Tuesday. Because Tuesdays are terrible, awful, the absolute worst. If you enjoyed this deck, please let me know in the comments. I do want to point out, one of the things I am not running in this deck are clone cards. Things like Jaxus. There's also another card in the Lord of the Rings set that similarly lets you make a copy of your Etali that is still legendary, so it immediately dies, but you do get the enter the battlefield effect. I don't have it in this deck, but I bet you could put it into yours and have a ton of fun with it. You can also put more land-based ramp in. Things like Invasion of Zendikar that get you 2 lands into the battlefield tapped. Those sorts of abilities are really nice with Etali. I just focus them more on the high end with things like Cavalier of Thorns and Primeval Titan. This deck is really fun. It is a Gruul Stompy ramp deck, so it knows exactly what it is. It's Gruul, it's Stompy, and it ramps, and it's a blast to play. I hope you like this video, and as always, have a brawlful day.